You'll be the life of the party.
Yeah. Well, alright. Where you from, Courage? Tell them Wyandotte. A location where dangers hanging, ain't got crime watch. And if you close, 10 seconds could get you 9 shots. I ain't talking about the flu, Where you from, Courage? Tell them Wyandotte. A location where dangers hanging, ain't got crime watch. And if you close, 10 seconds could get you 9 shots. And I ain't talking about the flu. People try to get away, they take a train or flu. But no amount of distance change the pain that you've been through. You take yourself up out the dot, can't take the dot up out of you. I'm trying to change my shoes, they don't fit cause they've been used. Yeah, where you from, Courage? Tell them Wyandotte. A location where dangers hanging, ain't got crime watch. And if you close, 10 seconds could get you 9 shots.
Welcome to The Ladders, first episode of 2020. I'm so happy to be here with you. As you can see, I'm by myself. I'm making a shift where I will still invite guests, but I don't only want it to be a guest show. So sometimes it'll be me and you hanging out, if that's okay with you. It's okay with me. I just hope it's okay with you. So I know a lot's been going on. I hope that you got a chance to catch We Need to Talk. Episode 3 dropped yesterday at noon. That comes out on Thursdays, so be on the lookout for that. But let's talk about the ladder, right? And what it's about, right? It's about looking forward, moving forward, reaching the next level. So got a special Black History Month. You know, I'm enjoying myself every day. Just wake up like this your month. And so I want to talk about just some Black History Month stuff, you know? Like, I feel like we only get 1 month, so we gotta turn up and celebrate, right? So let's do it right. So first off, I got a little docket today. So I'm talking about some leaders I look up to, some events that I think are important in Black History Month. I got a question that I think is important for everybody to answer for themselves. I'm gonna answer it too. And then I got a little funny list that I like to put together. I keep it going every year. I'll update it, you know, depending on how the year goes. So first off, before we get into all that, I just want to say I hope you had a good 2019. I hope the ladder was able to help you in some way get to a destination, a goal. And I think that that's the point of this. And one thing that I want to make clear is that everybody's destination is different, right? So there's not, like, I make this knowing that there's no perfect destination. Everybody don't look the same. I'm big into entrepreneurship. That ain't for everybody, and I'm okay with that. That don't mean this podcast ain't for you though, right? Like, even though we all got different destinations, the ladder's built more around the perfect pursuit, right? Like, we all are chasing something, and the ladder's built around crafting what that chase looks like, how we chase it. Make sure we're running right, running efficiently. I was trying to explain to one of my players the other day. He's thinking about doing some track, and he was like, "I'm fast. I'm gonna be able to win. I'm gonna be able to beat this person because I'm fast." And I was explaining to him that it ain't always the fastest person that wins in a race, especially the longer the race is, right? Like, maybe in 100, right? Because this is just a sprint. But like, when you talking about like the 400, the 800, even the mile, it's about the runner who can be most efficient, right? Like, with your movements, with your breaths, with your strides, so that at the end you have enough left to be your fastest. A lot of times people burn out too quick. They're going with 190 speed, not knowing that they got another lap, right? I remember when I was running 800, when I was younger, I thought that I was gonna be the next Usain Bolt, right? I was killing people in 800. Killing them. I made it to regionals. I'm like, yeah, let's go. That's my race. I love the 800. Only problem is I did the 800 like this, right? Like, I would start off, I would want to be in the middle, trying to be in the middle of the pack, doing that first 4. Then I start to pull ahead a little bit, getting towards the front of the pack, doing that first curve, stride, doing that. Did that last straightaway. I stride a little bit, keeping pace with the top guy, not letting him pull away, but not really gaining on him. Then that last curve, I start picking up, and then that last 100, I'm hawking you. That was my mindset, right? It was like, I'm gonna pace myself. I'm gonna be efficient with my breaths. I'm gonna be efficient with my stride, so that when I get to that last 100, I'm gonna burn you because you done used everything you got. And I know I got more left than you. And I just believed in myself that way. Man, I ran into this monster on the 800, bro. I'm talking about at regionals. We took off. I see him out ahead. I'm just smiling to myself like, silly goose, I'm going to catch you, bro. Like, I'm going to catch you, man. He's sprinting. Going. I'm like, man, this dude is moving. Let me pick up my pace a little bit. So I start moving him. I had to move up my timeline because I was like, man, I got to be in distance to catch him. Dude never stopped sprinting. Like, dude sprinted the whole 800. It was crazy. Like, I was like, if this is what it takes, I ain't got that in me. So I quit track. I ain't never run track again. That was my last year running track. I ain't never been back. For real though, like if he was willing to do that, I'm not willing to do that. I'm not built like that. So I started playing basketball. And that was the end of my track career. So, you know, the guy, whoever you are, you were 13, you ruined my track career. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, that was a moment of silence for my track career, by the way, if you didn't know what we were doing. But what I mean to say is like the ladder, man, is built around that perfect pursuit. I want to make sure that whatever race you're in, whatever the distance may be, that you run it the right way. And so that's what I'm here for. So let's jump into the docket today, all right? So firstly, I'm talking about the top 5 black leaders that I look up to and why. And so this is not any particular order. The first guy I'm going to talk about is Martin Luther King Jr. And the reason I look up to Martin Luther King Jr. are not the reasons that they teach you in school, honestly. It's all the other reasons that don't get talked about in school. Him being a child prodigy, graduated from high school at 15, having a doctorate by 25. I'm 27, bro, and I'm still like, I don't know about that doctorate. Like, and so just to imagine someone being that focused and just attacking their goals like that, it's just impressive to me. He didn't want to be the leader of the civil rights, which is another thing I think people don't talk about a lot, but like, he just wanted to be a pastor. His dad was a pastor, and he wanted to be a pastor. But in his mind, he couldn't shepherd his flock under the circumstances that America was under. Like, he couldn't correctly lead them to Jesus, correctly mold them and help them grow in Jesus under those circumstances. And so when he went to SNCC, when he went to SCLC, right, and he spoke and his voice was captivating. And they was like, yo, you need to be in front of this. We need a face of this. We need a voice of this. It needs to be you. And he kind of fought that at first. And then he said, you know what, if that's my portion. And so he kind of went with it. And so I love the humility in that. A lot of people want to be up front. A lot of people want to be the leader. They want to be the voice in the face, but sometimes they don't have the capabilities to do that. That's not their skill set. That's not their talent. Whereas I look at Martin Luther King Jr. and you can hear him speak, you see him walk, and you're like, you were built for this. But at the same time, he's like, that ain't really what I want. Like, I want people to be free. You know what I mean? That's my biggest thing. And if I got to be the voice and face to do that, I'll do that. Favorite speeches by him, I think, so I Have Dreamed is by far his most famous speech. But it ain't his best speech to me. Like, I love his speech where it's like, if you can't walk, he's talking about the perfect pursuit, honestly. He's like, yo, if you can run, run. But if you can't run, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. And if you can't crawl, scoot. But whatever you do, keep moving. And I think it's an address to a graduating class. He spoke like at a commencement. I love that speech. And it's because it's just from, like, it's real life. Like, sometimes you gotta be realistic with where you are in your journey. You can't always sprint, right? Like, it's just truthful. Like, you might be hobbled that day. Like, hamstring might be hurting, calves might be hurting. You might not have no energy. You might not have ate right. Like, sprinting isn't always an option. I think in today's day and age, especially with social media and everything being instantaneous, is like Amazon Prime and things like that. Like, I can order something right now and get it today. Like, things like that make us dishonor the longevity of what it usually takes to build success. And so I think when I hear that speech particularly, it reminds me that you just got to keep moving. Now, like, your success can't be measured by the speed of other people's movements. you got to move how you can move in that moment. And so I love that about Dr. King. I love that. I love his transition, right? A lot of people don't know that one of the reasons he got killed, he had moved past just civil rights for African Americans, and he had moved on capitalism. Dr. King was not well liked when he got killed. The history books would make you think he was at the pinnacle of his influence and importance, but by the time he got killed, he wasn't able to go to the White House no more. He got kicked out the White House. Black people had stopped liking him, and who really got mad at him was the rich white folk, because he had started marching on capitalism. The day he got shot, he was actually I can't remember if it was the day before or day after. I think it's the day before. He was marching with the sanitary workers for their wages, because like what Dr. King realized was that, yes, it was a racial thing that was going on in America, but more importantly, it was an economic thing. And he had shifted and began to realize that. And so towards the end of his life, that's what he was fighting against, was the economic oppression of not only black people and brown people, which definitely was going on, but even some white people. And since the beginning of race, right, that's why race was created, was to keep impoverished white people from joining with black and brown people, right? Because that would be the grand majority. And so race was created to separate white people without money, without land, from black people without money, without land. Because what capitalistic people realized was that there's way more people without money, without land, even back then and to this day, it's the same system, than there are with. And so they had to do something to separate them, and that's how kind of a race was created. And so Dr. King had flipped it and was going to combine those demographics and saying, hey, I may be black and brown, and you may be of European descent, but we suffering from the same oppression, and has nothing to do with race. It's more economic. And so I love that. I love his growth there. I love his transition there. I love the way his wife talks about him. I do. A lot of people, you can believe what you want about Dr. King and him as a husband. I choose to believe that he was faithful. Coretta said he was, and this is my pushback on a lot of the talks about Dr. King being unfaithful, is that the people that released those tapes and those allegations, that's the FBI is the one who's behind it, right? And they are the same people who are convicted of his murder, right? Conspiracy to commit murder. That's the FBI. That you can look it up. They're found guilty of Dr. King's murder. So for me, I'm not listening to the people who killed Dr. King tell me about his life. Like, nah, I'm cool. That's not where I'm getting my sources from. And so I love the way Coretta talk about him. I love the way his kids talk about him. And so yeah, Dr. King, I spent enough time with him. Everybody get it. I like him. I look up to him. Another dude I look up to that you might not know is Marcus Garvey. And if you don't know who Marcus Garvey is, you gotta read up on him. Dude was electric, right? Like one of my favorite things about Marcus Garvey, right, was he wanted to start a cruise line in his ship. It was basically it wasn't a cruise line, it was a ship. He wanted to start a ship company. And what the shipping company was going to do was to allow African people to go back to Africa. And so he said he needs to raise $1 million. And mind you, this is pre-internet, pre-cell phone, pre-telephone. This is straight snail mail at most. This dude, Marcus Garvey, and this is something I'm looking into, crowdfunding and stuff like that. Marcus Garvey was he is the figurehead of crowdfunding. He raised $1 million on $1 donations. Let me repeat that. He was getting $1 donations from people, and he raised $1 million. That is crazy. Like, for me, that is the epitome of leadership. If you can get people to say, you can get 1 million people to say, you know what, I'm rocking with you, and I'm gonna give $1 to you and to your business enterprise, to your movement, because I believe in it. And that's the thing. And that's like, sometimes as as entrepreneurs, as leaders, we get greedy. And what I mean by that is like we want people to give big amounts of money to our dreams. We want venture capitalists to invest in us. We want big brands to invest in us. But like when I look at Marcus Garvey, it's like, nah, if I just get you and you and you and you to all invest in me just a little bit, I can do something crazy with just y'all little investment. And that's kind of where I think we as black people forget how much power we actually have economically, that we can do stuff like that. One of my favorite dudes that I'm looking up to right now, he's not on the list, but I'm gonna talk about him because I look up to him a lot. It's Kev on Stage. And I'm looking at what he's doing with his Patreon, what he's doing with his stand-up comedy, how he's doing his live, and the model he's going to is similar to Marcus Garvey, where it's like, I don't need a whole lot from one person. But if I get a little bit from everybody who rock with me, then I'm gonna have the ability to provide for my family in a way that I think I can, that my talents and abilities say that I can. And so I love Marcus Garvey because of that. He actually got deported, which you got to read about it. He got deported because black people actually thought he had too much power. That's when I read Black history stuff, man, it's so frustrating when I see our leaders and I see how divisive we can be against our leaders. Like, even if you ain't rocking with his voice, you ain't rocking with what he's saying, that don't mean you should be against him. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just go do your own thing. Like, you don't gotta knock him because he's not doing what you doing. And that's kind of what happened with Marcus Garvey. He got deported, but he was Jamaican, so he got deported to Jamaica. And man, he went to Jamaica and kept doing the same stuff, and went down and led them in some stuff, built some stuff there. So he's a real good dude. You got to read about him if you don't know about him. This last person I'm talking about. So those are two people that have passed away that kind of been in my forefront of mind when I think of leadership. The next three are all living. One is Tony Evans. Love Tony Evans, man. I say that, and this is the crazy thing. I'm not a huge fan of Tony Evans as a preacher because he uses too many analogies for me. And I get, like, dude has a book of analogies and illustrations. He is like the illustration king. That's just not my type of preaching. And he does other stuff too. So I can listen. I listen to him from here and now and then, but that ain't really why I rock with Tony Evans. Reason I rock with Tony Evans is his economic influence over the area that God has given him. He's grown his church massively, which is amazing in and of itself, right? To be an African American man and grow your church that way is pretty amazing. But also, I have some players from Dallas, so I got to talk to him and I asked him about Oak Cliff Fellowship, which is his church, and it was like, yeah, Oak Cliff is probably one of the worst neighborhoods in Dallas, and I didn't know that. Like, I'm just not from that area, and so the fact that he planted his church there and he has so many other business ventures there too. Like, he doesn't only do church, like he does outreach nonstop throughout the week in various forms. His ownership of the property in that area is amazing. And this is what I love about Tony Evans too, because I think sometimes we don't realize that we can affect people in different ways. He wrote books first, right? That's one of the first ways I was introduced to him, was his books. Kingdom Man is an amazing book for any Christian man that wants to read, or any man that just wants to be better. I think if you read Kingdom Man, it'll make you better as a man, period. But Kingdom Man is a great resource. You should look it up. But he didn't stop at books, right? He started podcasting his messages. And then he dropped a movie. Like, Tony Evans produced and dropped a movie in theaters around the country that did well. Like, and the crazy thing, I went to see the movie. I had no idea what the movie was going to be about. I went to see it just on Tony Evans' name alone. And it wasn't like a drama. Like, it was Tony Evans. Like, you following him, having conversations with people about what it looks like to be a kingdom man. So, like, he took his book and flipped that and made it a movie. And I just see that and be like, yo, I gotta give props to that. And that's something I can look up to, is like, anything is possible, man. And then my favorite thing about Tony Evans, though, and this is what I always say, like, because the Bible is very clear on this. Like, a man that doesn't take care of his own house is worthless to the world. when I hear Priscilla Schreier preach and talk, her specifically, I ain't really listened to his sons, or honestly, I haven't listened to his sons at all. But Priscilla, I've heard a lot of her. She sounds like Tony Evans. Like, she is like the girl version of Tony Evans. And what that tells me is that he is exactly at home who he is in public. And I love that, because I think that that's genuine. That's what we all gotta be. Like, you shouldn't be two different people. If this who you is, be who you are. Like, be who you is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just what it is. That's what it should be for everyone. You don't gotta fake for nobody. And so I love that about Tony, that he ain't fake. And I look up to that. Last two leaders I look up to are actually women. One is Michelle Obama. Her book is amazing. People have given glowing reviews. I haven't read it. I just heard everybody talk about it. Talk about how life-changing it is and how amazing it is. I'm probably going to listen to it. Now that I'm talking about it, I got to listen to her book. But I just love the way she carries herself. I think for her to be in that position, being the First Lady of the United States, the first African-American woman to be First Lady of the United States, that's a lot of pressure. And I know that black women suffer from double oppression, being black and then being women in America. And so not only is there a lot of pressure, she's fighting uphill against that double oppression. And man, she flawless. Like, she flawless. Like, I don't agree with everything she does, like, especially like her healthy initiative. I do study nutrition and stuff, so I got some different views on that. But at the same time, I respect what she's trying to do. And I respect her voice, and I respect her confidence, and I respect, most importantly, her grace. Like, she is the epitome of grace. Like, every time you see her, she look good. She looks like she smell good. She put together. Like, it's like, okay, that's a black woman. Like, and I know that black women come in all shapes and sizes, so I'm not saying like it's a cookie cut, but I'm saying like she makes black women look amazing, like they are. Like, she represents great. Like, that could be my mama, my auntie. You know what I'm saying? And I would be like, I'd be just as proud as me not knowing her, because that's how well she carries herself. And she's personable. Like, when you hear her talk, when you see her in public, you feel like you know her. You feel like she at the family reunion. And I respect that a lot. I really do. And then the last person that I look up to is Maya Moore. I don't know if you know about, I'm a basketball head. So Maya Moore is still, even though she hasn't played in 2 years, one of the top basketball players in the world. She a bucket. I first stumbled onto her at UConn her freshman year. They was doing like Midnight Madness, and she was catching lobs as a freshman, two-hand flushing them. Look up the YouTube if you don't believe me. But like, she is a scoring machine. She got drafted to UConn, won at UConn, because that's what everybody does at UConn, except right now. You know what I'm saying? UConn ain't on top right now, and I'm loving it. But everybody else when Maya was there, they was on top. They was winning. And she got drafted by the Lynx. Start winning there. She's a winner, right? A bucket, can't nobody guard her. But at the same time, so last 2 years she hasn't played, and last year she stepped away because she said there was some guy that called her to. And I respect that. Like, just the ability to say, I'm really, really good at this, but God, if you call me something else, I'll go do something else. Like, that, to be in tune with God like that, to trust God like that, is amazing. And then, like, this year, she gave kind of a little more insight in what she's doing. And she was like, she's doing some prison reform stuff. And she basically said, like, there's a guy in jail that I don't think should be in jail. So I'm spending all my time right now trying to get him out of jail. Like, to sacrifice your career, to sacrifice your momentum. Like, she has her own Jordan sneaker. Like, to say, like, all that stuff is cool, but there's people that need me in another area, in another way. And so I'm going to give that up so I can go do that. That is just, I mean, that's amazing, bro. It really is. And so I look up to that, and I admire that, that ability to know who you are and know who God is, and know that whatever God calls you to is what you're supposed to do. Like I said in my introduction video on YouTube, like, there's nothing more peaceful than being in the will of God. And so I respect Maya for that. Moving on. So those are 5 leaders I look up to. Now I want to talk about 5 movements, moments, phases of Black history that I think are vitally important Number one is emancipation. You know, slavery sucked. So getting free was nice, right? Like, it was cool to not be slaves no more. So that goes without saying, emancipation, number one. Number two, civil rights. I think emancipation was a great first step, right? Like, we had to get free to fight for rights first. But I think civil rights was huge. I think those are probably the only two things we get talked about in our history books, right? We were slaves, then we wasn't. We were second-class citizens, then we wasn't, right? Like, those are the two things. So those go without saying. I got to explain those. Third is hip hop. And I'll explain this because what hip hop was able to do, and what it's still doing, was to move resources to communities where they did not have access to resources. Like, there are people in hip hop that come from communities that did not have access to money, have access to influence, have access to a platform. And hip hop said, well, you have talent, so we'll give you those other things. And so, and then also it exported our culture, which some people might think is a bad thing. But what I think it allows us so many more opportunities because people are aware, at least as on the surface level, of kind of what we bring to the table. Like, they like, all right, I know they bring us, they have style, they have charisma, they are hard workers. Cause that's the thing about hip hop. People that make it in hip hop go dumb hard. Like, it's probably really unhealthy. Like, when I look at like their work ethic and stuff, they be talking about, like, I remember 50, he was rapping, he was acting, producing, and making a soundtrack for the movie. And it was like, 50, when do you sleep? And 50 was like, sleep is for broke people. Well, no, it's not. Sleep is for people who need rest and are human. But the sentiment behind it, and 50 might have been telling the truth, he might have been sleeping, I don't care. I think it's unhealthy. 50, you should take naps. But I think the sentiment behind it is like how hard they're willing to go. Like, Beyonce's famous for the same thing. Like, she'll be on stage dancing, choreographing, singing, that's not a word. Going through choreography, singing, and she'll be like, oh, I ain't ate in 3 days. I don't know how she do that, because if I miss 2 hours, that's how I got it, max. After 2 hours, I am at least aware of the fact that I haven't eaten. I might not eat, but I know, like, hey, Justin, you ain't ate nothing. I remember last night I was sitting down here like, did I eat dinner? Nah, I ain't eat dinner. I gotta eat an apple or something. Like, I don't know how she does that, but what I'm getting at is like the work ethic behind hip hop. It's like, it's a real thing. And even like so I love CHH. I love Christian hip hop. I love Christian rappers, Christian artists that kind of take that urban feel to their music, and I listen to them a lot. And I think that Christian hip hop in particular has given a voice to people of this generation, how we feel, how we think, how we operate. And so I think hip hop is one of the most important movements that happened in Black history. Professional sports is another one that is a resource. It does some resources, man. There's people that come from places that don't have money, and because they're talented, they have money. LeBron James is a good example. He comes from a place, single mom. LeBron lived on his own his senior year. He lived in an apartment from a mentor's house. He lived in a mentor's apartment his senior year. Just because he didn't have any stability at home. But now he started a school. You know what I mean? Like, out of his own pocket. When it started a charter school. Jalen Rose, look up to him a lot, did the same thing. Jalen Rose Leadership Academy in Detroit. Like, these are people with access to resources that wouldn't have access to them if professional sports didn't exist. And so I look at even like, I'm a Chiefs fan. Hey, you know what I'm saying? We won them Super Bowl, baby. In case you didn't know, in case you were under a rock, come out, the Chiefs are the Super Bowl champions, right? But our quarterback is, I think, the third Black quarterback ever to win a Super Bowl, right? And if you hear him talk, it's like he's been a professional athlete his whole life. Well, why is that? Because his Black father was a professional athlete, right? And he's been around professional athletes his whole life. That's second generational wealth that not only has allowed him access to resources as a child, it gave him the game plan, would you say, you know what I'm saying, the strategy for becoming a professional athlete, right? Like, that's what happens. And it's so cool right now. Right now, we're in the second generation of all these superstars from the 80s and 90s. All their children are growing up and are becoming superstars. Stephen Curry is one of them, right? His father was a professional athlete, access to resources, generational wealth professional sports is a way that African Americans create generational wealth. It's not the only way, but it is one of the ways that it happens. And then right now, I think we're right in the midst of it, and I don't know how far it's gonna go. But social media, what social media has done for Black people is so fantastic. Like, there's so many industries that we had no access to. One of, like, perfect example is like Eric Thomas, the hip hop preacher. Motivational speaking outside of Les Brown. Like, Les Brown was the only guy was reserved for European men. Just be 100. That's who did motivational speaking. That's who companies was paying for and all that. E.T. used YouTube, right, to blow his platform up. He was already speaking. He was already doing that, but he used YouTube specifically to blow his platform up. Now he's the number one motivational speaker in the world. Social media is that, right? It allows us, I'm using social media. You watching this on some kind of social media platform, YouTube, you might be listening to it on Anchor, whatever, Google Podcasts, wherever, Pocket Cast, The Breaker, Spotify, wherever the podcast may be found, You might be listening to it there. We might have found out about it on Twitter, on my Instagram. That is our ability to use social media to create a platform, to gather resources, right, for our brand. Excuse me. That was not, that didn't exist. It didn't exist when I grew up. When I was a kid, I tell my players all the time, I didn't have a computer in my house until I was 16. And even then, I had to lie to get on Facebook. So, like, we didn't have the access to that. There's the number one YouTuber, he's 9. He's 9. Made multi-millions last year. Millions of dollars. Like, that's what we have access to with social media now. And anything that can break down a barrier to an industry is good for Black people. It really is. Because anytime we can take away the nepotism, take away the ability for people to overlook us, because that's what happens on social media. You can't ignore these numbers. Like, you just can't. I got 10 million followers. What you want to do? You want to make some money with your brand or what? Because, I mean, if you don't, somebody do, right? Like, you can't ignore these numbers, and that's what social media does. It breaks down those barriers. All right. So my last serious question is, why is being Black so important to me? I'm glad you asked. I thought you never would. Being Black is important to me because there are other Black people. I mean, that's why being Black is important. Like, I disagree with the notion that colorblind is good. The Bible is very clear in Revelations that there are people of all colors, all nations, all creeds at the day of glory singing glory, glory, glory to Jesus, right? God made us different for a reason. And our differences are good. They shouldn't be ignored. We shouldn't be oppressed because of them. But rather we should be celebrated because of them. And I love being Black because I can jump. I love being Black because I got swag. I love being Black because I got a Black wife and she fine. I love being Black because I love little Black kids, little Black boys, little Black girls. I love being Black because I can rap. I love being Black because I can dance. I love being Black because I'm funny. Like, these are things that are inherent to me because I'm Black. Like, there are certain stories I can tell because I was raised in a Black household. Speaking of which, what a segue, Strick. Starting next week, we're going to be starting Stories with Strick. Story time with Strick, right? I'm going to go live on Instagram one day, Facebook one day, YouTube one day. I'm going to post a schedule on Sunday. Story time with Strick will start. I got some stories to tell. Mama, I hope that you are past prosecution time because I had to release some stuff from my childhood. We're going to heal together. I got some drama to get through that my mama put me through. Y'all gonna hear about it, all right? Story time with Strick starting next week. But like I said, that's part of, like, growing up in a Black household. I was just talking to my homeboy last night, like, there's nothing like growing up with a Black mama. It's nothing like it. Like, they say stuff, they do stuff that in the moment, it's like, this woman is crazy. But looking back, it's like, that is hilarious. Like, I got one perfect example. I wanted to get tattoos. I got 11 of them. I'm sneaky tatted. Don't worry about it. You can't see none of them now. But I'm tatted, though. So, I want to get a tattoo. I told my mama, I want to get a tattoo. Mama was like, okay. I was like, for real? She was like, yeah. If you get a tattoo, I'm going to carve it off your body. Like, what? Like, and she was dead serious. Like, she's like, I'm gonna take a knife and I'm gonna carve it off your body. So I waited till I was 18, you know, smart, and I hit it. But then she found out because my cousin is a snitch. Nothing here, that's okay. But like I'm saying, those kind of things that I get from being black, man, and I enjoy that, man. I really, the confidence, like, as a black man, especially in America, you have to be confident and you gotta be self-confident. It gotta come from within you because nobody's giving you confidence. Society isn't built for you to become confident. And I love that innate confidence that I have from being a black man. And so, yeah, that's cool. So last, this is funny. It's my funny list. If you know me, I have a list of the top 5 worst things that happen to black people, okay? And on this list, things change. Some things are permanent, right? Like my number 2, it has been on the list for the last 5 years, okay? And you gonna know why when I get there. Okay, so I'm gonna go through these are the top 5 worst things to ever happen to black people. I think it's important to talk about during Black History Month, okay? Number 5, slavery. It sucked. Slavery sucked. It took us from Africa, which Africa is nice. We liked it. We were enjoying it. We were building civilizations, having families, living how we wanted to live. And they took us, and now we were slaves. That sucked. Okay, moving on. Number 4, welfare. Welfare sucks. It sucks. I'm telling you, it is not good for you. What welfare is built for is to remove the man from the household. WIC is women, infant, children. Like, welfare is built to be the man of the household. And I get it. I'm not knocking single moms. I'm not knocking you doing what you got to do to get by. But it is not a way to live your life. Like, you got to understand how talented you are, how skilled you are. Welfare tells you that you cannot use those talents and skills to make a living. And I disagree with that notion. I disagree that God created you special and as an individual, that you cannot use those special talents and abilities to make a living. I think you can, and welfare says you can't. It sucks, and it sucks for black people. And child support is the reason black men don't have jobs, because their checks get garnished. Okay. Number 3, all right, rims. Rims are the 3rd worst thing that happened to black people. Hear me out. People will put rims on their car before they pay their rent, before they pay their child support, before they pay their phone bill. Their phone will be off only on Wi-Fi, but they will be having 20s on their car. And not only rims, you might be too young to remember, but I don't. Spinners. Spinners are by far the worst version of rims because they cost more, they go on top of your regular rim, and they pop off if you hit a curb. And this is the thing, y'all can't drive, so you bought something that you knew was gonna break. Spinners sucked. Rims are destroying the black community. Number 2, bubble coats. Bubble coats are the 2nd worst thing to ever happen to black people. You know how many fights were started over bubble coats? My older brother went to Central Middle School, and he said when they got out of school, the kids from Wyandotte High School would be outside of Central waiting on them to get out so they could steal their starter bubble coats. That don't make no sense, man. Bubble coat been ruining people, ruining the black community since they came out. And the number 1 thing, and this one hurts me. It hurts my soul. If you know me, you know why. Number 1 thing, worst thing happened to black people, Soulja Boy. Soulja Boy, man. He ruined us, man. And it hurts me. I was Pretty Boy Swag. Hey, that was me. I loved Soulja Boy. But what Soulja Boy did, he used the internet. He said, all you need is a tight beat, a nice chorus, and you can say anything during the verse, and people will like you. And we are in the midst of nice beat, anything on the chorus, people will like you in hip hop. And it is depressing. All my young boys like, oh, you gotta hear this dude. He is so cold. He's so dope. He hard, coach. You gotta listen. I'm like, okay, I'll listen once. I listen to him. I'm like, he's terrible. The beat is good. The production is fantastic. He's horrible. And Soulja Boy, this is your fault. You are the reason we got it here. You are the king of the internet. And you ruined black people. Thanks. Thanks a lot. All right, so that's my top 5 list of what things worst things happen to black people. Leave yours on the comments. So you got 3 I want you to leave. If you leave a comment, I want you to leave 3 things, okay? Leave a black leader you look up to. Leave a black movement that inspires you, right? There's a whole bunch I missed. I had a whole bunch of honorable mentions, right? And then leave one of the worst things that you think that ever happened to black people outside of slavery, because we all get slavery, all right? So outside of slavery and jail. Yeah, I get prison to pipeline. I got new Jim Crow. We good. So outside of jail and slavery, once something that happened to black people, that sucked, okay? So 3 things, I'm gonna run those back. Leave a leader that you look up to. Leave a movement, right? And leave one of the worst things that ever happened to black people in the comments. Do it right now before you forget. Remember, we're on YouTube, so if you like it, hit thumbs up. If you love it, hit subscribe. And if you want more, share with your friends, because I'm ready, right? I'm ready to produce these consistently. And I just want y'all to love me. Please love me. Please love me. Please love me and listen to me. No, if you don't love me, just share it with your friends. They might, okay? And remember, turn your notifications on, hit that bell. So that way when we post, you get it to your phone, and you can come on, you can come look at it. It's gonna be more just me. I love doing this. This was fun. I didn't know how much fun I was gonna have. I'm being honest. I had a good time. I hope you did too. Remember, you can listen on Anchor, Pocket Cast, Google Podcasts, The Breaker, and Spotify. If you just want to listen to the audio, it's there. It'll be up at noon on Fridays. I love you. Thank you so much for listening. I'm out.